Okay, Xavier down the bottom of the garden and the birds. Today I'm going to tackle something that I'm a little bit nervous about. I haven't really done that much with pines, well, Scots pines. I've certainly mucked about with my Japanese white pine, which you'll see a little bit later in the month. But these, they are easy. But you've got to be strong and you've got to be brave, I think, is the way to do it. I'll be honest, I won't lie, I've watched lots of Ryan Neal. I've also seen quite a few of Nigel, and between the two of them, both have shown the ruthlessness necessary to not only be top bonsai masters, but probably the next president of the US. No, I didn't say that, I know. Anyway, that's not funny. So let's have a look and see this one. We'll do a quick spin. This has had wiring applied to it. I bought 12 of these as 2 or 3 year, I think they were 2-year-old saplings, 5-6 years ago. There'll be a picture somewhere. And I put those into a growing bed. I left them in the growing bed for 2 or 3 years. Each year I sort of cut back heavily, so there's big one being cut there. I'd snip the these things here, these candles. So I'd snip the candles, and each year I was discovering a different way of doing it. In other words, whichever way happened to be the flavour of the month, whichever YouTube creator I'd watched. And there is definitely a difference. Peter Chan will just get your scissors and clip absolutely everything. And now understanding Scots pine, I'm happy that, yeah, that's exactly what you can do. They bud profusely. The only rule is make sure that there's some candle or something on whichever section you're hoping to get budding from. But anyway, this one actually recovered 2 years ago, I think. Of the ones that recovered, 2 more have died in the recovery process. Just not enough roots. So I've got 6 quid's worth of tree now, and I've got to decide what to do with it. And the first thing I'm going to do is all these old needles, because I'm going to be wiring, I want to clear, and I just pluck all the wires, all of these away. They talk about 2-year-old needles, 3-year-old needles. Well, all I need to know is that's this year's needles, and I'm going to be wiring out to it. So I do want to remove some of these. I'm not removing needles for energy redistribution or anything like that. I think that's applicable really for the likes of black pine and stuff like that. Seeing as you find, you try and do it just here. Lovely little bud. We'll talk about bud selections in a minute. Candles, I mean. But I just want to carefully give myself some room, one, to see what's going on in here. Being careful not to inadvertently disturb, as I've done here. If you look here, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got 5 coming from this point. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's about 12, 13 coming from here. It's got a 2 needle pine, single flush, which means it produces 1 candle a year. And obviously it's 2 needle because it produces a pair of needles. Again here, look at the little candle there developing, plus this big one. Okay. So I'm going to keep going around that and removing all the needles and come back. Okay, so we've cleaned off enough of the needles to be able to see what's going on, and now we've got to try and decide what to do with it. And you know, I'm really still not sure. So we've got this lower branch down here, which truthfully is probably a waste of time, but until I've decided what, it is actually quite a good sacrificial branch. Once I've decided the front, I'm going to use this to thicken up the base. There's another little candle developing here. That will probably get removed. But the reason why I might also hold it is because there is still part of me that thinks I could be really radical, cut the whole thing here and regrow everything from here. Use that as well, and so we get this nice big thing, and try and keep it as a sort of show hen, smaller type. But I've never done that with a Scots pine, so I probably won't do that. So I'll wire those in a particular position, and that may well eventually allowed to grow, but may well be sacrificed to thicken up the trunk. So moving up, I've got this lovely shape. It's deciding, is this the front or is that the front? And that's all about recognising where your back can be. So with this one, it can go either way. It looks reasonably good that way. I've got these that can present branches like this. I can do stuff with this and wire this to create pads out this way. But this branch here is the problem. I can't take it out to the back, so the only place it could come and do anything would be the front, or I remove it. So I then thought, okay, let's look at this going this way. So if we look at this and say, is this the front? So we've still got nice curves. We can still do all, in fact, because of the way the bend already is, it facilitates the bending a little better to produce potentially pads going across here. There's also a little bud, a little candle here and here, so I could remove the top and create something here. But the main thing is that I can then now, because of where that is, move that across and actually create it out to the back. So hopefully that makes sense, because that's what I'm going to do. So this will be my front. I first of all need to put on some wire just to be able to facilitate that. Sometimes we can see some real obvious candle removal points. Never going to need this one here. I don't know yet what I'm doing here, and the rule with candles anyway will be that where you've got more than two, you're going to have to select which one's removed, because all that's going to happen is this candle, like this one is the strongest, is going to want to go as high as it possibly can and make this into a big tree. So already it's about knowing that you're going to be controlling, and you can be quite aggressive in your pruning. And with candles, you can do everything from wherever you cut, so long there's needles, a couple of pairs of needles behind it, you'll get two new buds, which will form latent buds form. So if I cut there, the chances are from the base there I'll get two new buds that'll activate next year. So again, if you're deciding your length that you want your branches to be, and for your next buds, you can do that. Or you can chop the whole thing off right back to there, and again you should get two new buds forming there, or you'll get more buds forming further back. So it's pretty prolific for creating buds. But just so you know, when it was in the bed, I actually did put wire onto all of them, so I was already doing some work on them in the beds to try and get some basic shape. So I'm going to get some wire and start wiring these. And just along, you get a little bit of a piece like that. Obviously it's a bit too much, you can't wire with it, but out of that you can get two bridges. Three bridges is a place they play cricket. Good cricket side if you like your cricket. Three bridges cricket. But anyway, I can make two bridges out of that, which is obviously when you've got a pot that's got a single hole, you create a bridge. So I always keep things like that. Okay, so there's the first bit of wire, really quite thick, heavy gauge. I don't know how well it's going to bend. Rotate. Some people might suggest using raffia to protect that Scots pine once it starts barking up. It's pretty decent, so I'm less worried about that. Okay, it's some basic. I mean, this is a pretty ugly section of the tree. There's no doubt about it. But for now, based on what I've done already, I can already do something like that. I'm now going to wire up the rest of that. You don't need to see slow motion of that. Okay, I've wired down here, going across this one and these ones. There is some more wiring to do, but at this point I've actually got to make some decisions. So starting from the bottom here. We just want to, and then we've got two here, so if I was going to use it, I would want them to be facing so we get two nice pads coming out. Okay, follow it up. We'll deal with the next one we have to deal with, which is this one. Now what we've got here, two lovely candles there, which I think is going to be where the future is going to be. We've also got this one here. That's quite an ugly thing. And who knows, that may actually produce something, or it may just get cut. What I'm mainly having is these ones coming out lovely. So, got this out of the way. Obviously I want all the energy to go into these, and I don't want this to become a great big thick junction. So what I'm going to do is cut entirely that off. So what should happen is this should die, and then I can remove that later. But I'm using this as a flexing point to create the downwardness on that. Okay, so we've got those two lovely ones there, and now, do I want these to continue to thicken? If you look about the thickness of the trunk and then how thick these are, I'm quite happy to let these both thicken. But if I actually wanted to start ramification, then I would cut these to whatever length I want them at. So now I'm going to leave them like this. Always fiddling. There we go. Okay, so happy with that. Right, so we now look at this one. We want to be pushing that to the back. So the coils are going this way, so that's the way I'm going to rotate. And to be fair, it looks pretty gross, to be honest. But we've got two buds there. This long one, that's probably again where I want to be concentrating. So if you look now, they're going to be going out more in a chances are this is going to get removed. You know, that's nice and healthy. And again, the question is, do I want all the energy to go out in this, or am I trying to encourage a little bit of something from that bud? So this time I'm going to do a bit of experiments. So I'm going to leave those and see what happens. But this one, I'm actually going to cut back and see what happens. So I've cut probably 2/3 of it off. We've got this. Okay, so we've got that now formed. We've got that formed. Okay, so we've got this great conglomeration here. Interesting little branch coming down here. Let's just do the twos first. So we've got 2, 2, 2, 2. Here, we've got this great thick. Now this junction is actually really thick. It's actually thicker than where the lead is going to be. I can't do anything about that right now. Part of me's waiting to see if that'll develop, because I can try something different. But for now, I've bent this as best as I can with the material I had. What from here, I've got one coming up, one, so that's 2 from one, and then very quickly we've got 2 here, and then another one down here. We look here, we've got a load of junctions here and here. I definitely find that very, very long. And I'm just trying to work my head around how I'm going to do the bends. I'm happy enough with the way that's facing. What I'm looking at is I've got candles here developing, so as I say, I haven't got a clear idea in my head when I do it, but what I have done there, some may say a bit artificial, I've actually created a little bit of a bend. I may actually just take it over and around. That's interesting. Obviously that's coming straight at us, and because I've got all those clumps there, I may actually remove that. I'm going to make one decision, definitely. From there I've got 3 coming from one clump, so let's get rid of that. Now we've got 2, and I'm going to shorten those right down. Don't want much growth there. Give me time to think about it. leaving about 8 pairs of, no, it's quite a few more than 8 pairs, but sounds a good number. There we go. So if you're looking at that, I've just shortened it right down. Not entirely sure what's going to happen with that. If I keep that, then I have to remove all of those buds at the back. So look, well, mind you, that's lower down, so I'm all right there. So it's just this one, which is going to grow that way. So I won't want that. I'll get rid of that. So actually, that's not a problem. So that's 2 at that junction. We're going up here. So I've got to decide what to do with this group. Right, I've got 3 at this junction. I can keep that, take the middle one out, which is the strongest one as well, and that'll push energy into these 2. But I've got this one quite close to it, or I could actually use the stagger from those 2. It's whether I can actually right, okay, so I'm going to take that one. That's gone. That leaves us this one, this one, this one. So potentially we're going to have 2 coming out here. If I shorten this, right back. Same with this, shorten these. Okay, so we've got stubs. Now, as I said, I'm not entirely sure how that's directed. I know these bud roots, but I've never actually done proper work on them. So, you know, by the end of the year, I'm going to see from doing this where the actual buds come from. I'm pretty sure 2 buds will come from there, from each of these tops, and I'll get buds near there. But I'm interested to see what happens if there's anything further back as a result, probably as a result of pulling the needles. I don't know. Okay, so that would take it that way. Happy with that. Right, we've got something there. We've got this one that's going to be inside the bend, so I'm going to remove that one. So we've got that. We've got this little interesting monster here. Really good to us at all, but it's not doing any harm, so we'll leave that. Okay, now the bit that I wasn't sure about. So let's have a look. Not sure what's going on with this thing down here. The reason why I've actually got two candles there, and that may wire differently. So let's look at reducing the candle on this. 2 from there, 2 from there, that's fine. Let's have a look at this. What have we got here? We've actually got a whole raft of stuff coming out here. So we have got 1, then we've got 2 very close here. And out of that one, we've got 3, 4. That one's quite long and ugly, and that's a very thick branch. So it's typical that I've actually got the wire on the branch that I probably won't use. Which tells me what I might do is actually just get it out of the way. Okay. So I've got that out of the way a bit. Okay. I'm going to shorten there's 1 candle there, I'm going to shorten it right back. And chances are, there's 2 on that, the chances are this is going to be sacrificed. Got to make that decision now. The reason why I have to make the decision now is 1, 2, 3. So there's going to be swelling, so I have to decide. Right, so it's going to be this one is going to be sacrificed. So what I'm going to do here, just cut the ends off. Okay, decision made. Okay, so now okay, so if you look at it, there's a little bit of movement in there, which is what I was trying to achieve. I mean, the good thing is I know there's going to be some backbudding taking place, so let's just close that a little bit. There we go. Okay, so we've got 2 and 2, and coming off here, 1 there, got this one at the top, remove that one, got 2, let's get rid of that, so we've got 2 at the top there. From this junction we've got something at the bottom of this one, so we're going to get rid of that one. So we've got this one here. The position of it means that I can actually wire it out alright. Okay, so that gives us our proper division there. Bit of wire, I can decide that. I'm happy with that for now. So that's going up to the top. We've got this here. Bear in mind this front, I'm not really convinced that's going to be much good to me. But it's inoffensive. And it may be that it might occupy a space there off this way. So we'll see how that goes. Right. Okay. Yeah, I wired it. So I've just brought that out and I've just shoved that up a bit. So okay, so I'm happy with here. Now looking at the apex, there's some clear things we can do straight away. All this rubbish here is coming right out of the junction of there. Okay, now that's what I want that, because I don't like that. That's pretty yucky. But what can we do? The tree is curving round, and it's heavy on the right hand side, which is pushing it that way. So maybe I want to have the apex coming up this way. That's quite a thick branch. It's thicker than that one. There is an option I can do, and I've decided I am going to do it. I can cut lower here and remove, let's do it, show you what I mean. So I could remove that much, but because that's thicker than that, there's a disparity, and also the direction of those, it's still quite high. But what I have got is this lovely clump of stuff here. In particular, there's a candle there and a candle there. They're small. There's also a bigger candle, 2 more candles above it, but they're all heading about where I'd want them, which is there. So what I am going to do is just take off that whole lump there. So then what I want to do is have these form a pad there. So which are the ones that are going to be the best ones? Got 2 smaller ones there, so I'm actually going to take that one off. I want to the front, actually that makes sense, and that one off. So that gives us a little bit of space, so if those 2 grow they can fill a spot there. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't want that extending off into the yonder. I'll cut that back, and this stub will get cleaned up at another time. Okay, The reason why I'm leaving a bigger stub is I'm not sure how bad the dieback is on these things. Right, we're getting close to it, so now we're at the point where we have to decide what to do with that. Now, logically, it would make sense to pull that round and potentially wire that narrower, because if you look at the two thicknesses, that's the thicker, that's the thinner. So it would make sense that would be, if that continues to be the trunk line, that would have to be the thinner branch. So that's probably what I'll do, using that as a hook. So forming a preformed hook. This is a very bad preformed hook, but this is what I learned from Bonsai Mirai. These are just a bit tighter. All I do is it fits. Is that, yeah. Chances are the wire may not be quite long enough for what I wanted to do. This is the downside with trying to use up scraps of wire. Apart from the fact that I lose the ability to apply leverage. Wow. Okay, see how I get on with that. So what I want to do not sure that's exactly what I want to do. I've got to still do something with that. Okay, so what we've done, oh gosh, I didn't expect to put this much wire on. It's not so great. It doesn't look brilliant. We've got 3 on there. So, take 2 small ones, remove the bottom one. And then we're just left with this at the top. It's at the moment, so it's going around, it's going back over this way. We've got this here and this here. We have that one there. Get rid of that one. So now I've got that there, that there. Don't know, we've got 3 to choose from. And it's whether I actually want something that's going to come out there. So we don't have a pad coming out there. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's that decision. Okay. Got that candle there. Okay. Shorten that candle off. Well, if that was painful for you, I tell you it was pretty stressful for me. I really haven't done any Scots pine like this, where I've had such raw material. The basic work was in the garden, in the beds, but this final picture, it's really a first for me. I'll just show you something for now. I mean, I have done stuff like this, and this is, again, it was bought online as just a 2-year whip. Never went into a growing bed. So I've done wiring and shaping, and I suppose I've done it to this extent, but it's just quite nice. But it doesn't feel that was as difficult as trying to do this, and I think also trying to make decisions while knowing that all 12 of you out there were watching me. Who knows, I may get a 13th from this, but I'll give it a spin. It is done. It's very much more naked than it was before. I do feel confident. I'm really confident. It's a fit, healthy tree, so I think it's going to respond well to that. There's some glaring wiring issues here. I could put the Eiffel Tower down the gap there, which it's not a big issue because that's the branch I'm trying to bend. I've already got the bend on this one, but you know, this is what I'm saying. There's also a big Eiffel Tower gap here, which means I didn't twist and rotate enough. So I've actually loosened that, which means the holding power here. If it was an older tree, if it was an older tree, it would just spring it back a bit. That's why you want a nice tight hold. I mean, seeing better wiring, but yeah. So from Xavier down the bottom of the garden, I'm going to take this Scots pine and put it somewhere to recover, and hopefully it'll recover as quickly as I do. Any comments on this or anything I've said that you think's not right, or you've got a different approach, please put something in the comments. And if you are watching my content and you enjoy it, I'm not looking to live off anything to do this, but please subscribe, because it makes me feel good, and it'll help me decide whether to continue doing this. Cheers.